Where's your little man? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, bro. So
he fell.
It's over there. It's double-sided tape and it keeps sticking and then flicking. Like, so it'll always down
on the back.
No, it's got nothing. It's a really poor design. So I was like, I'll just deal with that once I've set up the lighting and I know it's not going to reflect. Otherwise, I'm going to buy like a neon sign or something.
Yeah, definitely.
But see how it just kept dropping? Oops. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's not doing any damage. It's fine. Then one day I was like,
weren't you being a chippy originally?
I am a chippy, yes. And
come on, channel the skills.
Mate, I've brought out the skills at Functional the last couple of days. They're like, you might have a future in being a tradie again. I was like, no chance. Like, I'm scratching the itch and I'm done. I'm done. I'm more than done. Welcome back to the Man That Can Project podcast. Today, it's a local. It's one of the veterans. Wes is back. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. So we're recording. I love that. That's awesome. Well, I'm very well, and thank you for having me, mate. I'm super excited about what we're going to be talking about.
So am I, mate. I'm just always excited to see you, to be fair, which is good.
We have a good energy between each other, mate, and I think we just both appreciate each other. And I think, if anything, we always enjoy a smile and speak positively towards each other, and I appreciate it.
Likewise, mate. Every time I see you in the gym when you're walking out of your ice bath, we give each other a cheeky wink and sometimes a little bum tap. But
I love a bum tap. It's Stewie Law.
Don't we all? But today's episode is going to be, or this episode, not going to say today because it's going out later, is going to be a special one because it's going to be the first time we've recorded it in 3 different time periods. Yeah. And what I mean by that is we're doing it right now.
We are.
And you've got something exciting happening tomorrow, but hopefully you're going to allow me to interview before the excitement thing, which we're going to talk about, and then post.
Yeah. Well, we can even do after the fight if you want, because I've still got to go back.
We just gave it away. So Wes is doing a fight. There it is. The cat's out of the bag.
She's out. All right. Yeah. Thank you, mate. Yeah.
But mate, so we wanted to touch on today, mateship.
Yes.
Confidence, resilience.
Yep.
And maybe anything else that sort of comes up. But you're doing your first, is it your first fight?
My first fight, yes. Yeah. It's a charity fight. Just quick backstory. My brother signed up last year for Fight for a Cause. Obviously the cause being mental health, which is our charity. And he did it last year, and seeing the personal growth that he went through, I was just like, I've got an interest here. And then, mate, the new year came around, as in this year, 2022. And actually listening to you with The Man That Can, and just knowing myself, I wanted to challenge myself, and seeing the personal growth of my brother, I put my hand up for Fight for a Cause for this year.
That's epic. So what were some of the things that you saw him personally grow with?
Mate, awesome. Thank you. The biggest one for me was my brother nearly quit twice throughout the process.
And so it's a 12-week block, right?
It's 12 to 10.
Yep.
Let's just call it 12 or 10 weeks. So he started training, and then his first sparring session, he actually, I guess, fought a person that had a little bit more experience, or sparred, I should say. And he just got hit around, and it scared the living hell out of him. And he rang me straight after that spar when he was in the car heading home. And mate, you could just sense the tension and nervousness and fear. And he's like, mate, I've just got, hit around. And I guess it really bruised his ego, because he thought it was going to shape up pretty well. And mate, seeing him continue on, which is something that we'll talk about, is resilience, as in hanging in there. I was like, well done, mate. And then it happened again. The week later, again, he got beaten around. He's like, mate, I don't know if I can do this. And his coaching staff, the people that surrounded him, all just gave him enough confidence, going, mate, we know that you're not experienced and you've been getting hit around a little, but there's good things going on. And they coached him through it. And obviously me just saying, hang in there as well. And if anything, himself having the motivation to stay, mate, he ended up obviously going through the process, and he won his fight. And the ironic thing is the person that sparred him, that beat him up twice, he then beat at the evening.
So how was he feeling after that,
mate? Oh, it's like just seeing my brother, the exhilaration that went through, and the adrenaline, mate. And we've talked about, or we will talk about, life's about experiences. You could just see that my brother has been through an experience.
We're all good. Yeah.
We're all good. No, a little bit of technical, but no, all good. You could just see that he really enjoyed the experience. But mate, it's the process. Seeing that process. Obviously, the fight's one thing, but it's that 10 weeks of going through and then seeing him come out of that was, mate, yeah, it just really did spark an interest. And then we also raised some really good money for mental health. So that was another thing that pushed me forward. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. It's cool though. I think I love challenging myself,
Yes.
and whether not personally boxing, but being able to put yourself in a competitive environment where you do get humbling experiences that force you to really have a good hard look at yourself, and it tests your character. It almost creates the character.
Yes.
And a lot of people avoid that because it's confronting, right? Sometimes you may feel inadequate, and right, that's a choice on how you respond to the what's unfolding in front of you. But when you have a great support team around you, like yourself and the coaching staff that Tudor had, it's like, okay, well, there's a lot to learn here, and there's a lot of growth in this process. Yes. And the only way, there's always going to be a winner and a loser in competition, right? Or metaphorically, everyone's winning because you've learned, you've become so much better, you've built confidence, you've built skill sets, and you've just actually committed to something. Commitment is a big thing that people often overlook. It's like a lot of people, look at our academy, how many people signed up for it and how many people are still there.
Yes.
Commitment is not there.
Yep. And thank you. And that's why I wanted to do a video with you about it, because all those things that you've talked about, I experienced, and I wanted to sort of share that, because I really do think, and if you are watching this, no matter where you are in the world, or even if to those folks that are tied up with Lachie, is, mate, signing up for an experience like this was a game changer. Like it has put so much momentum in my life that I really wanted to share, because it was just hanging, the character traits of hanging in there, resilience, mate, turning up, getting fit, like just this natural byproduct of getting myself fit, mate. I've been in the best shape that I've been in more than 10 years.
You posted a photo of yourself to the group chat this morning, last night, actually.
Yes.
Jacked.
Yeah, thank you.
You are looking good.
Yeah, but it's the work. Yeah. And that's what I really wanted to sort of talk about, that if you are listening to this and you're looking for a challenge, there's stuff out there that exists. And the experience of going through this boxing challenge, Lachie, has just touched on so many facets of life that I just want to really inspire people. And I knew talking to you would be great, because you can get that out of people. And then just seeing the benefits of signing up for a challenge. It's a 3-month challenge. So, that's why I jumped on the Man That Can challenge, or the Men of Value, because I wanted to bring it all together like glue, to hold myself accountable, to turn up, to say I was going to do this and I'll do it, right? And those things occurred.
12 weeks doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're going through it and you have to continue showing up to that commitment, it can be quite inconvenient.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What was some of the, do you have any moments where you wanted to quit firstly?
Mate, fortunately, I didn't. However, I did have moments of fear of like, holy shit.
You had COVID through it, right?
Yeah, I got COVID. Yeah. And mate, I had, interesting thing is, when I got COVID, like I got the Delta because I lost my sense of taste. I got floored. However, I was not quitting this challenge. I'm like, no, I'm going to get through this. And mate, I was 2 weeks and I was done. I was back to training after a week, obviously tested all negative and stuff, felt comfortable. I had a week of being dizzy, but actually fortunately had the awareness through your program and personal development that I had to get back, but I'm not going to go 110%. I actually dialed it back to 60, but mate, what the benefit was just turning up again, because I had a week off. All this momentum got stopped, but then after I was sick, I went back and mate, I just turned up and I just skipped. I did what I could do. I was hitting the bag. If I had to have a break, I took a break. But the action of turning up at training, right, and getting through it, and then going home, sleeping, getting up again, going to the gym, just going for a walk. I wasn't doing any Metcon sessions, but just that habit of getting going again after I'd gotten COVID was very beneficial.
Was it hard to restart though after you had the break from COVID? Or did you just sort of?
It was, because I remember the night that after I came out of quarantine, you could say, I remember that. Sorry, the morning, back to the real world. That morning, I was using the excuse that I'm coming out of COVID. I was tired, mate, and I remember waking up going, oh, I could justify staying in bed. but I went, no, I have to get up and drag my ass out and get to training, because if I want to be any contender in this fight, you've got to be fit, and to get fit, you got to do the work. And that was motivation enough to get me up. And mate, like anything, as soon as you're up within 10 minutes or less than that, I'm awake and off you go. Yeah. So
feeling good.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for tomorrow?
Definitely signing off this challenge, as in finishing. Mate, I think there's multiple things. It's obviously seeing how I'm going to go. Like I have trained hard, and trust me, mate, I have no attachment to winning or losing or drawing. Of course, it'd be cool to win, but mate, the process has been a win for me. And I've done a lot of ego work. And even yesterday when we were shaping up, I was smiling at Luke, the guy. Like, I just could not bring on this serious face, because I'm just having fun, right?
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to the bell. I'm not necessarily looking forward to getting punched in the head. However, that's where it's that fear, mate. It's actually, here's one thing I am looking forward to is the nerves.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to get nervous, and I want to actually feed off that a little, and just know that it's so normal. That it's not you're not the first person to experience this, that going through it and just go through the motions. Like, I have sort of visualized walking out and smiling, saying hello, and just relaxing, like actually taking it in and enjoying it.
Talk to us about visualization.
Yeah, mate, I'm pretty big on the visualization. I listen to a lot of your stuff and who you've spoken to. So what I've actually been visualizing, particularly the last couple of days, the closer we get, is just, mate, how my fight's going to go. So in the ring, I'm not necessarily actually thinking about if I'm going to win or not. I'm actually just thinking about throwing my jab and my combinations, and then also just moving around, and then just visualizing actually walking down the aisle and seeing my friends and knowing that
I'm on table 60, baby.
Yeah, you are, mate. I've got 4 tables all next to each other. Yeah, so that's going to be good. That's 40 people. So, and then just knowing that I'm going to be visualizing that I am going to be okay.
Yep. That's exciting. I think visualization is such a powerful tool, but I want to talk about your whole process.
Yes.
Because one thing that just popped into my head, I believe it's so important for people to find ways to challenge themselves, whether it's through something like what you're doing, a fight for a cause, it's got a good cause attached to it. But then, we've done 21-kilometer rows. Some people might do a marathon or, whatever works for you. But what I really love about what you've done is, when people set a goal, often they don't have a plan attached to it, and they don't have the right support systems attached to it. And what you've done is sort of that all-in-one process, right? You just say, yep, I'm keen. You get the coaching, you get the support, the plan to get there. Like, some great coaches is there to support you along the way. And then obviously you've got some mates doing it as well. So there's a heap of mateship and banter in there as well. So I think I'd love to hear about your experience with all of that and how that maybe simplified the process, but also I wanted to highlight that for people, because that is one of the reasons why so many fall short on their goals, is because they don't have a plan, support system, maybe mentorship or guidance to get there. And often a goal is, for most people, is something we haven't done before, right? Otherwise, you don't really strive to do the same thing time and time again. Even if you're running a marathon for the second time, you're always trying to do faster. So talk us through that.
Well, mate, just to highlight the importance of plan. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. And I remember hearing that years ago, and I've just really taken that statement and really put it through my DNA, because I see how important it is. And the great thing about this challenge was, cool, there's a fight. You're going to fight for mental health charity. However, you've got to get there, right? And the great thing about obviously signing up for this fight is, one thing that they made clear is, if you want to have some form of, what's the word that I'm saying, skill, or actually a positive outcome, you need to train. And if you don't train, you will get, the light will shine on you pretty quickly, and you'll get belted around.
Were there many blokes that didn't show up?
Mate, actually, I surprisingly, within our group, mate, most people turned up. I was really surprised. Yeah, man. And actually the directors of Fight for a Cause actually made a statement going, man, the 2 charities that are there, have done really, really well this year, that most people have actually hung in there. So, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's
because,
amazing.
you're going to have drop off. But just back to your question, mate, I knew that if I'm going to do a challenge like this, I need to actually set out structure. So I made a goal to myself that I would train at least once a day. Right. And how that, and like me, I'm win the morning, win the day. So morning times is always best for me. So I actually, when I signed this up, I actually scheduled in all my training sessions because I knew I wasn't really going to go traveling anywhere or taking some time off or whatnot. So I knew that from a training perspective, if I can get that into my diary, from a work perspective, work's obviously going to get pushed out because I know how important this training is. So it was just that forward planning of training, but then also listening to the coaches, them saying, you've got to commit, you've got to turn up. And mate, those first couple of weeks, where you're trying to sort of learn that technique, it was just listening to them. And mate, thank God you listen. I remember actually getting quite frustrated at the start because I thought I was always doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And then I'd beat myself up. But all these guys were doing was observing, and they just wanted to make you better. And when I actually took that ego away from that of just going, oh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And just realize, just listen, follow what your coach says, is seeing your best interest. It's amazing how those things fall into place by simply continuing to go to training, as in turning up. And, some days are better than others, but then listening to your coach, right? Really actually taking the time going, cool. They're actually saying, get your chin down, use your jab more. So you're protecting your jaw when you're punching, and then taking that feedback on board and then growing from there. Right. And then, mate, it's interesting how amazing how just another 24 hours, you go home, you sleep on it, and then you turn up the next day, and all of a sudden those little bits of feedback you start to implement. So that's one of the best things that I've found with planning. And then, mate, just to toot your horn, obviously joining on the man of value.
Strong man of value.
Thank you. You are
sounds better out of my mouth.
Yeah, exactly, because you are a man of value. I wanted that to keep me accountable. So having a coach and a group that would actually make me more accountable for something that I wanted to achieve was very important. And that was part of the plan.
Yeah, I love that plan. I really love that plan. One thing I was just thinking about as you were talking about keeping your chin down so you can and throwing your jab so you can protect your chin. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I was starting to get nervous for a moment because I'm like, fuck, how would I feel? I like the idea of training, but then thinking at the end of this, someone's going in there to punch your fucking head off, right?
Yes, mate. And just on top of that, it's actually not that bad.
How did you detach from the ego? Because I think the biggest thing, as much as I'm saying I'd like to protect my head, I think it's more ego that I'm trying to protect.
Yeah, well, man, you're a chiseled man, so we need that chisel features to hang around, mate. But I've done a lot of personal development work, and ego is obviously one thing that I think can get in the way of a lot of things, particularly our growth and who we are as a person and how we react to things and whatnot. Obviously there's a fear of being punched in the face, but I think obviously seeing what my brother went through and then watching a few of the fights, that 99% of the time it's going to be safe. And that, if you keep your guard up, and if you actually can learn some boxing skills, yes, you're going to get punched, but you can protect yourself. And I did have a fear before of doing this, or maybe, I guess a slight legitimate fear, but an excuse. I don't want to do damage to my brain or anything like that. You can honestly say that. But once I got in there with headgear and gloves and mouth guard, and then obviously taking those skills, I actually got past that fear. And mate, that was one of the biggest growth lessons that I had through this process, is that we can step forward, we can step through that fear, and actually just then getting in the ring and putting your hand up and going, right, here we go. That just, I lost that ego. I don't mind obviously being hit. I don't want to get hit, but I've then got to give it back as well. So I just learned some really good skills out of that.
And how much has the mateship meant for you? Like, there's a lot of guys, doing it as well. And obviously you got 4 tables. So 40 mates coming along to support you. How much does that mean to you? And how, I guess, has that helped you showing up daily as well? Because obviously you want to put on a show, put on a bit of a spectacle.
I've actually got 7 tables,
Seven.
four are mates and then 3 are work related. Yeah, so there's actually quite a few people in there that have got. Todd Howard's got 7, Dan Fetter's got 7 tables, mate. There's a very good support.
How many people are going to be there tomorrow?
There's, I think, 700.
Fair dankum.
Yeah, not bad. And then they've got a night fight that's got similar numbers too.
What a way to crack the debut.
Well, as one of the directors said yesterday, he goes, just think of it as a glorified sparring session, but with 700 people watching.
All these people watching.
Mate, yeah, I have thought I've got one of my strengths, mate, is I've got a very big social network. I have a lot of great friends. I'm very fortunate that the people that surround me are very positive in my life. And I think just the nature that I am, I've made good friendships that are around. And when they see, like, a lot of I sent a big group text around yesterday telling them details of everything. Mate, just the energy coming back of people actually saying, really proud of you, and mate, can't wait. And, lots of encouragement. I was like, man, how cool is that? I have a platform where I can actually send out to, I think there was 22 people just within this certain text message, and it's all coming back going, mate, we can't wait to support you and get behind you. And then the well done, mate, well done for stepping up and getting in the ring and having a go.
And it is,
and you're coming too.
Yeah,
so, mate, thank you.
I'm so pumped to come. I just think it, like, for me, it's like brave. Like, it is super brave, because I don't think I'm in the mindset or just point where I would do something like that. Like, the fear is for me too much. I'm like, nah. And it just highlights, even as I was saying 5 minutes ago, like the ego. I'm like, that's probably the thing that I'm most fearful of, is just getting my fucking ass handed to me.
Yeah, mate. But maybe that's what you got to work on too.
Well, no, 100%.
But you are you're an elite former elite sports person. So there's that competition streak. Like, my brother played soccer for Australia, indoor soccer, I should say. And mate, so he has that competition streak. You can definitely see it through him. However, in terms of working on your ego, it's been a great thing. And just to answer your question about mateship throughout there, mate, funny enough, it's been amazing from people that I have. So our theme this year with MAF is community, and we've really wanted to create a great community. And this mixing with over 60 people, because there's 2 charities, we have just made such an awesome community. And one of the
What's
great
the other
things,
charity? Sorry,
Small Steps for Hannah.
Oh, awesome!
Is people look out for each other.
Yep.
Like after people have sparred, there's clapping going on, and then everyone's sort of giving feedback and mate, hugging. And dude, Fortitude, I'll give it to Fortitude Boxing. Like, when I walked into there, when we first came in there, and that we highlighted last night, just the sense of actually feeling at home and a good community around you. People not, they don't care what your fight experience is. They just want to make sure that you're comfortable, that you're safe, and that you're learning. And that mateship came through the whole group. And man, everyone's actually quite excited. Who'd you get matched up with? Who are you fighting? Because we all care, and we all actually been through this journey. And I've actually made, particularly with the Function Well people, if anything, gotten closer. Yeah, because we've obviously gone through the experience. We've seen the trials and tribulations that's occurred, and the tough times, and we've hung in there. And tomorrow, here we are, or Saturday, or whenever you're listening to this, we are there. And it's been great to go along with that journey and laugh and talk about, getting punched or guards dropped and getting whacked, and our flaws throughout, and embracing it rather than being so disappointed about it.
Yep. Oh, mate, it's definitely going to be those experiences. I think about it with rugby, like, so many of the memories, and not even the games. Like, the games were fun, but it's the lifestyle that came with it. And as much as on previous podcasts, I've bagged a lot of the stuff that I did, I still look back with so many fond memories around the journey, like going to training at, like the hot showers in the smog when it's snowing out in France, and all these experiences that you got to have because of the sport and the camaraderie. And what, the people that you're on the field with, or in the ring with, or in the gym with, become some of your closest mates, because they're standing there at 5 a.m. in the morning with you when, everyone else is sleeping, or when you get injured, they're making sure that you're, getting everything to get back up and get into the game quickly and stuff like that. Or you know, if there's some fucking lip from someone else on the other the other team, like they're there, they literally got your back. And it is so hard to describe that to people, what that is like. And I was thinking about this the other day because I saw a female rugby league player got in trouble. And I was like, I wonder what it's like inside the culture of like female sports. Like, is it the same similar to how blokes are, and just sometimes you act like a dickhead and that's it. And obviously I've never been in female sports. I don't really know, but I think it's easy to judge from the outside looking in, but when you're a part of something, you understand why the banter's there. You understand the mannerisms of people's humor, but from the outside looking in, people are just like, no, that's ridiculous behavior. You shouldn't do this. But everyone who's in the know is like, fuck off. This is our brotherhood or our community. Like, let us enjoy our process or our journey of what we're going through. And I think that's a really important thing to highlight, because I see how excited Brad is in the gym at the moment. Every time I walk past him, he's ducking and weaving. I'm like, bro, your excitement is through the roof, and I love it. And, you know, obviously I'm not a part of doing what you guys are doing. I'm excited to come watch you guys do that. But I think I feed off people who are,
the energy.
They are just doing something that they're fucking pumped about. And I think more people should be seeking out experiences like that, where it's like, it might be 6 months away, but you get to train for it. And then a week before it, you get to show your stuff. And it doesn't matter where you go. It's just like, you know, it's D-Day, and you get to bring the energy for people, and it literally radiates.
Mate, I think you're touching on some of the byproducts of perhaps joining a team. So whatever that looks like, soccer, rugby, as you say, netball, volleyball, CrossFit, joining a gym where there's perhaps, say, some competition element that you can come in as a group. The benefits that you get out of a team of lifting each other up, supporting each other, it just highlights why that, you know, if you're in a place where you want to perhaps take some steps to do better, go join a team. You know, really from your health aspect and your mental health, and then that camaraderie of joining a team, and then the highs and the lows and the banter and the talk crap to each other and all of that, man, you can still have that when you get older. It's just you taking the step to go and finding that. And I know with some of the work that you do with the strong man that values, or man that can, the man of values.
It's confusing, isn't it?
Oh, mate, but I love it.
I do need to get clear on that.
And I think I've mentioned this to you, and you pointed out, is create positive experiences for yourself, so that through those experiences you get the emotions of elation and feeling loved and supported, and you know, a group around you. Like, go create it. Go and do it. If you want more of that in your world, you've got to take that step to find it. And a great, easy step is join a team.
100%. How can people get involved next year?
Mate, the easiest way is just jump on Instagram, Fight for a Cause. They actually have multiple causes. It's not just mental health. I dare say, I'm hoping that Joel and Jury have found this to be a positive experience. Again, this is the second time they've supported us, which is fantastic. We're very grateful. If you're kind of liking what you're hearing, perhaps next year, our charity Mental Awareness Foundation may be supported again. I have empathy that if they go, oh, hey, you know, you've had your turn, you know, we'll have a little break. I totally get it. But the best way is just jump on Fight for a Cause, and perhaps if a cause that comes true to your soul or your heart, you know, all you got to do is get in contact. The other thing is that it's not just Brisbane. There are other similar organisations that exist in Sydney and Melbourne, and I'm sure all over the world. So I think, honestly, if you just typed into Google, you know, boxing corporate or boxing charity, stuff would come up. Otherwise, if you're stumped, just reach out to me, and I'll always point you in the right direction.
Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously, we're going to segue this into me interviewing you tomorrow morning. But what's it look like the next? You know, what time are you on? Probably 1?
Probably more like 2.
So about 23 hours or 22 and a half hours away from this. What's the next 22 and a half hours look like for you? I want to know the prep.
Today, I'm going to slow cook a tomahawk. You've probably seen one of my tomahawks.
Shawshank Redemption.
Sure, yeah, I'm just going to, mate, tonight I just feel like, actually, I was thinking of going for a walk after this. And then tomorrow morning, some of the fighters of the group, we're actually meeting at Kangaroo Point Cliffs. We're walking down to Felons for a beer. I mean, a coffee at 6 a.m. Mate, we'll probably run into you, hopefully. But we wanted to do that just because I know listen, everyone's going to be probably a bit nervous tomorrow, and it's just all about trying to keep, which the pro fighters do it, keep everything normal.
Yep.
Don't try and overthink it. Just, if you go for your coffee, go. Don't think that you have to stay home and, fight your fight before you get in the ring. So I'm treating tomorrow night. So going for a walk, going for a coffee, come back, probably have a smoothie. I won't eat too much, mate. I'd rather be lighter than heavy.
Yep.
So do a smoothie, and then, mate, I'll have all my stuff. We've got to get there for 11. And just as they say, when you get there, get in the ring, feel the ropes, take it all in, and then everyone sort of arrives around 11:30. So I'll be out the front greeting everyone because of the math.
That's
element.
good of you to do that. For me, I'd personally just want to be in the zone, like getting.
Yeah, man. I remember hearing a pro fight. I can't recall who it was. It was either what's his name? Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And someone was like, mate, do you want me to leave you alone and out of this? And he said, no, I've done all the prep work. I'm ready to go. I just got to get to the ring and get in there. And mate, I kind of feel the same way. Like, why kind of overthink it? Where I've done from a fitness side of things, I feel very solid. I feel good. Enjoy that moment. And to be fair, man, it'll keep things off my mind. Like, and of course, maybe I don't want to overexert myself, but I think just seeing everyone and there's a certain cause there that I want to say thank you for people, because, mate, I know more than anything, you can't get time back. So people like yourself and your group and my friends and others taking the time out, 4 hours of their day, who have families and all this kind of stuff, to come along and support us. I'm very grateful, mate. So I want to say thanks.
Yeah, awesome. Well, until we get to before the fight tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It's been awesome learning more about, and just to recap, like, go back and listen through this, like the importance of, once again, for me, the most important out of everything that you said is that team, finding a team, because they're going to support you. They're going to push you to be better. They're going to catch you when you fall. Like, it's so fucking important. And from that, then you can continue to build resilience. You continue to build confidence and really start striving to reach your potential, which I think is what we're all here to do.
And then just those health benefits, mate. I lost 6 kilos. There's a guy in there who's lost 15. My brother's lost 5. Like, everyone in the group has lost weight. And if, not saying that's the whole thing, but there's so many brilliant things that if you just need that something push, and I haven't had a drink for 4 months, pretty much. That's been really cool, because you don't want to get in a ring feeling hungover. I can tell you that. No. And if you're just needing something that can just steer you away from those weekends of getting loose, or perhaps, you need that challenge. Go, you know what? I've got to go to boxing tomorrow morning. I can't have that glass of wine, or I won't have that glass of wine because I want to wake up fresh. This is something that can help.
Hell yeah. Good luck, bro.
Yeah, no, mate, and thank you for allowing this opportunity.
Mate, thank you for sharing the opportunity, because it's exciting. I just, as always, like, I love getting inside people's minds who are doing cool shit and are challenging themselves, because there's many blokes out there who like the idea of doing things, but they don't just take that first step. And as you've said, like, it can be, a battle with your ego or various other things, but just get started. Like, you'll deal with whatever comes next as you go.
Get started. And I remember last time I was here, I talked about that meditation retreat, and it was one of the best things that I've done. I'm telling you, if you're watching this, it has been hands down one of the best things that I've done for my body, for my inner confidence, for resilience, for weight loss, for mateship, all of it, man. That's why I was so excited to wanting to talk to you, because I just know there's so many benefits that our community that you've created will get out of it.
My man, thank you for coming on.
Chuckers.
Part 2. I'm so excited. This has been a few weeks. So,
yes,
guys, this is going to have been joined together. We're back with Wes post-fight. We are, as we were talking about in the last episode when we were recording this before your fight, we're like, I'm going to get you just before the ring time. It was obviously chaotic. I didn't realize how big the event was.
Yeah, we had 700 people.
It was massive. Like, when I was walking in, I was expecting, I know you did say there was a lot of people, but I just assumed maybe 200-300.
Yep.
It was a full room at the convention center. Like, it was like watching Pacquiao versus Mayweather.
And mate, I sold 6 tables, so I had over 60 friends there. So, and you were part of it. So, mate, thank you very much. But 700 people, and just FYI, I actually went to a pro fight the week later, and mate, they probably had 300 people. and that was professional. So there's definitely a lot of support for amateurs.
Mate, I thought it was a great day. Like, to be fair, I've only been to 2 amateur fights before, and like that was just next level.
Yes.
It was really well done.
Yes. Well, we had the intention of sort of doing a bit of an interview just prior or through the day, and mate, I think I think everyone just got mesmerised by the whole event, and once it got kicked off, like it's a true.
I remember because I took my little portable mic to plug into the bottom of the phone, which works really well. I gave it to Laura or Anna or someone. I was like, hold this, I'm going to get Wezzo. But then when I was in there, I was like, and you're going into your fight, I was like, the last thing I personally would want right now is a guy trying to interview me. I'm in my, and I know you said don't worry about it, but for me, I'm just like, nah. I want to be in the zone. I want to soak up the energy and the experience. Yep. And personally, I did that, and I wanted that for you as well, rather than me.
Yeah.
So didn't tick that off, and we didn't get to you straight after the fight after. But let's run through the fight.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So just obviously the morning came. I actually caught up with you. I went for a walk with the guys from Man That Can, and that was awesome. And then. Mate, obviously throughout the event, I just sort of relaxed throughout the day. We got to the event, and mate, I just started taking it all in. Actually, just really sort of got out there and said thank you to people for coming, and just making a purpose of just not trying to isolate myself. I didn't want to sort of be caught up in the zone for too long, and you fight before you actually get out there. So I made an effort to just actually absorb everything, and it was great watching everyone. Mate, the nerves wasn't too bad, actually. Once I sort of, about 45 minutes, you start to get dressed and whatnot. Mate, I think I mentioned to you last time that I knew I'd done the work, and it was now just applying that. And, mate, I just actually started really actually getting a little bit excited about it. I knew we had to walk through, and Luke, the guy that I fought, he was there. He was pretty relaxed, man. He we weren't sort of being cheeky to each other prior or anything like that. It was quite a nice friendship. And then we walked out, and mate, they had the sparkles, as you know, the fireworks, and then they play the song really loud. And one of the things that I really noticed was the boxing ring and how lit up it was. Like, it was so bright. And mate, I just took it all in because I had so many friends there, and I just made a purpose of actually enjoying it, like getting my hands in the air, doing a little bit of a dance. And it wasn't a dance of confidence. It was more just a dance of thriving off the energy that was around, and just embracing, obviously the journey that I'd come on, and got in the ring. And then obviously Luke came out, he did his thing, and then it was actually when we touched gloves, and he's like, have a clean fight, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is real.
There's no pulling out now.
There's no pulling out now. And so, mate, that first round went. Absolutely.
Sorry to interject, but when you did touch gloves, like, what? This is real, but did anything else go through your head at that point?
Yes, from the perspective that I knew that we are going to start punching each other.
Yeah. And were you worried about getting that moment between copping the first punch and thinking about copping the first punch? Was that a sort of exhilarating moment?
It was, I think, from the perspective, because I could hear the crowd, I could hear my friends, every individual. You're like, oh, that was my mate Adam. I could hear his booming voice, or I could hear sort of yells from certain, lots of girls were screaming.
Oh, mate, you were the fan favourite.
And you just recognise some voices. So I guess you're absorbing that and taking that in. But, mate, there was definitely just that sense of, here we go. And, adrenaline, it kicked in. It really did sort of kick in. And I do remember sort of coming at each other, coming forward to each other to start boxing, and just sort of moving around. And, mate, I must say, just automatically kicked in of just trying to get my jab and then my cross, or jab, cross. Fortunately, that's why you train for these things, because you actually come back to the default of just, getting your jab going or keeping your guard up. So, mate, the adrenaline kicked in for sure.
Mate, when I got there, and I was saying to Nils, who I was sitting with, and Gardy, I was just like, there's no way you could paint. Like, you get that balance between nerves and excitement. Yes. And I'm sitting there going, fuck, a few of my mates are about to step into the ring and either punch the fuck out of people or and I know it's all for charity, but you're still
Yeah,
some
you
money.
care.
That's some money maker. And obviously you also understand the hard work, the 12 weeks that you've put in, and we chatted a lot about it. But to then see it all come down to this one event and experience, and it's pretty wild, like even as a spectator. So I think it's cool if you've got mates who are, I would say, ballsy enough to get in there, because I don't think I would ever do it. So it's pretty cool to be a part of. But talk us through like that from that first punch onwards.
Yeah, so mate, to give Luke absolute credit, he was, I guess, the stronger fighter or the better boxer. He did have more experience than I. And
mate, you've never been in the ring before.
No, I've never been in the ring, and knowing what I know now, definitely you can just see, even though it was one fight, but I guess there's a whole 18-month process of being in front of you, that just kind of shone through, and that was maybe perhaps my downside. With that said, mate, my game plan, Luke was definitely a stronger fighter, and I had a game plan of actually letting him come to me, right? Well, that's what I wanted to do. Because he was, I kind of knew he was a stronger fighter, but he definitely shone on the evening. That kind of went out the window as soon as I started punching, and I actually started pushing forward to him. And him being the more experienced was just jabbing and crossing me, and actually.
Do you think that was part of his plan to get you coming towards him as well?
Mate, yes and no. I don't know for sure, but just knowing how I had fought him in the past, because we'd sparred together, he was the one coming at me.
Yep.
So I wanted to stick to that game plan. It's just that it went out the window. So perhaps actually it was ideal for him letting me come forward, because he was the better boxer.
Yep.
So mate, I actually survived that first round. I did have a moment where I was actually a stronger from the perspective that when I got in under his guard and we were tied up, I was actually a better boxer of getting into his stomach and hitting on the side and whatnot. Yep. So that's where I had the upper hand. So mate, I got through that first round, but I definitely clipped a few got clipped in the head, and I do remember my guard was. I saw some photos and then also watched a bit of the film after. My guard wasn't as solid as it has been in the past. So anyway, we got through that first round and we sat down.
Was that just just getting in the fight and thinking about other things? Or?
Yeah, I think, mate, just lack of experience, and then also pushing forward and just having that guard down and chasing with your left hand. So when you punch, you obviously you are exposing a part of your face, and perhaps my chin wasn't down, so I was protecting it like so. And this arm was actually towards my ear rather than sort of at the front of my face.
Okay.
So that was a lesson learnt. So obviously the bell went. You've got a minute to rest, and just my coach Connor at the time, he's like, listen, if you want to win this fight, you've got to get in and under his guard and work his body, because obviously I was just getting picked off with with going forward and just basically getting punched in the face. So mate, the bell went for the second round, and mate, we started boxing on. By this stage, obviously his confidence was there, and mate, I was getting thoroughly hit in the face to the point where I actually went down. So didn't get knocked out, just went down, and just from a flurry of punches. And mate, that was I was actually that particular moment when I got hit down, I actually felt that one. I'm like, oh, that was solid hits. And I remember when we did our training, our coach said, if you do get knocked down, don't panic, take the 10 seconds. So I just made sure I took the 10, but I was coherent.
That'd be a hard thing to do, because in my head I'm thinking, if you get knocked down, get straight back up.
Yeah, no, well, there's so we were taught use it as a rest period, because mate, I was getting literally bashed. And I'm like, no, take that time. And I did, which was great. So I then got up, mate, hands came together from the coach. And I do remember the crowd, going, I could feel their energy going, mate, well done. You're up. You can keep going. So obviously
Did you want to get up?
No, I did. Yeah, absolutely. No, I wanted to continue on. And then I pushed forward and I remember jabbing. And this is where I think, the injury to come out of it, I remember tying...
Watch you don't move it too much.
Yeah.
I'm getting worried for you.
Thank you. Remember tying Luke up, and I remember flexing. And then I remember him trying to push out of my bear hug. And that's when I believe I tore my bicep off my arm. However, I didn't know, so I kept going. And by this stage, I was, he hit me and he actually popped my nose. So I just started bleeding.
Did you pop your nose as well?
Yeah. No, I didn't break it, but
okay.
I popped it. So they just call it a pop.
Yep.
And it just started bleeding.
Yep.
Now that doesn't look good, obviously, from a ref perspective. But, and then after he'd popped my nose, I remember blood coming down. And then I remember getting hit. And I actually felt like I had sort of tripped over myself, but I went down a second time.
Yep.
Anyway, as I'd learned, take your 10 seconds, but what happens is, because it's just corporate fights, and safety's a priority. If you hit down a second time, it's a knock. They've considered it a knockout.
Gotcha.
So, plus they don't like excessive blood. So I had obviously my nose bleeding. So mate, they stopped the fight. So I was mid first second round, and they called the fight, which, in hindsight now, knowing which I didn't discovered my arm until I went backstage, was obviously the best thing. But I felt fine, and obviously credit to Luke if he does listen to this. He was the stronger fighter, and I just say thank you because I'd learnt so many lessons. But I also pushed through the fear, and when I did get hit down, I got back up. I wasn't scared. I just knew that, hey, this is a boxing match, and I'm getting owned, but I want to go back in and have another go.
Yep.
But obviously the second time was from a safety perspective, and mate, it got called off in the second round. And interesting enough, I think I knew I was okay from a mental perspective because I actually said a speech straight after.
Your speech was awesome. Your speech was fucking quality. I can't even remember. I was thinking about it before. I was like, what was the one thing that you just sent the fucking crowd into absolute stitches?
I'll paraphrase, but I basically thanked everyone for their time for coming, because obviously, time's one of the things we have in common, but it's also we can't get back time. But I said, what did I say? I said, listen, I know it's not the result that that I wanted, but fuck, I had fun.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, everyone was just like, yeah, mate. But I learned so much from watching you and yourself and Brad and JP. And firstly, like, I don't feel personally I could get into the ring. And we spoke about this, I guess, in the part one of this episode, which you guys would have heard, where I think for me, it takes a lot of, like, you got to strip yourself back to get into the ring, right? Because it's a pretty vulnerable place to be, especially as a man. Like, I come from an upbringing where I was like, I used to love to get in fisticuffs and all of that sort of stuff. So to then, if I got my ass handed to me, that's going to, maybe expose something that I haven't accepted within myself, and it may make me feel a certain way. But then to watch how you guys went through your processes and handle things, firstly, stepping in the ring, I was like, these blokes, I got so much admiration for you guys, because I don't think at this point in my life I could do that. So one, I'm here to support and watch. Two, how you conducted yourself, and it was awesome to just listen what your thought process was getting knocked down, and the 10 seconds for me, I was like, I need to get back up and get on with it, which from what you've just said isn't the smartest move. So to be able to stick to your game plan when you're getting knocked down and things aren't going your way is a hugely valuable lesson in life, because that is life, right? It doesn't always go your way. And then how you conducted yourself afterwards, like still being such a great competitor, thanking the people, not having any, being a sore loser essentially, and blaming anything. It's just like, at the end of the day, I was a better fighter. This is what happened, and you're already back here talking about it. Even that night, like, it was funny when not funny, but I got home that evening and all the boys like, where's Tori's bicep? I was like, what do you mean he tore his bicep? He was smashing a few beers when I saw him. Like, he didn't. And then the next day I messaged you and you're like, tore the bicep. I was like, Fair play to you, mate. Like
you
still went on and had a merry good night and everything like that. But for me, it was, and I think for a lot of people who watch their mates go through that, it's definitely inspiring. And I think whether it's boxing or anything in life, just learning to step up to the plate, and it doesn't always go, hey, because the first part of this, you had your strategy and you were talking about what you were talking about, and here we are talking about how it went. And it doesn't always end the way that you think it's going to end, like The Notebook and all these movies. But you just get back on the horse, learn from it, and go again.
Correct. And I think a lesson that we talk about from life is reflection, and being able to reflect on it and sort of be humble enough to sort of see where the positives and the negatives were, and then process that. And to be honest, like if I hadn't sort of torn my bicep, I would definitely go again next year, just sheerly from the perspective, because I knew if I apply myself and having that experience and then going through the training again, that if I did fight again, one, I'd have more experience, but two, just a little bit more confidence in myself, and then also a game plan that I will try and stick to.
Yeah.
Right. And, that reflects in life so much. And as you mentioned, just when you triggered a thought, when you mentioned by going down, when you are down, just sometimes actually just staying there and observing and taking that time in and going, you know what, this is not a good spot to be in, and I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to observe, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to make a plan and get back into it and step forward and get my life on the right path.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to tie it into life, that's for sure.
I'll tell the funny story. So obviously fight's finished. I go backstage and I'm walking backstage and I'm looking at my arm, and mate, my bicep is literally like up at my shoulder.
Up. Yep.
Anyway, I'm like doing these ones with this arm. I'm like, oh, that just doesn't look right. And then I thought, you know what? It's corked. It must be corked, because it's just a big cork.
Yep.
Yeah. But mate, this thing was like, it was blowing up. And then I went, okay, no, it's okay. Just take a break. So I went and had a shower. I went and had a shower, and I was like, oh no, this is starting to hurt. So lucky I had a mate of mine, Mark Mitchell, shout out to you. He's from Sydney. He came up. He's a physio. I texted him. I said, mate, can you come backstage? I think I've got an issue. And mate, honestly, he walked back in. He kind of knew where we were. And then from me to say, I reckon 7 meters away, he just went, "Oh, you've ripped your bicep!" Like he just knew straight away.
And for you in that moment, what went through?
Oh, mate, actually, I was just like, I knew something was wrong. I was like, oh no, do I need to leave? Do I have to go get surgery straight away? Because mate, I'd worked I'd obviously trained for nearly 4 months. I hadn't had a beer. I hadn't gone out and partied. I had 60 friends there. I really wanted to go and celebrate. But he came in and he said, listen, mate, obviously it's serious, but, you've got probably a good week before you really need to start to do something. So he just said, get it in a sling, relax, go out and have a beer, enjoy yourself, but just obviously be mindful of yourself. So, mate, fortunately got friends in high places, and just quickly went out and celebrated that night, said thank you to everyone, and we had a great time at the Howard Smith Wharves. And to those that took part in the fight for a cause, in celebrations, just want to say thank you for coming along for that journey. But mate, I had the surgery on the Wednesday, and it came out well. But now I've got new challenges, because for the first 6 weeks you really got to be careful. There's no real serious exercise, and then the 6 weeks after that, which takes you to 3 months, then you start doing rehab. And for people like myself, I'm very highly motivated and I want to do something, but now it's forcing me to take a break.
Slow down.
And
so what do you, just quickly, before we go into that, how did the fundraising go? Because obviously Fight for a Cause is a fundraiser. Where did you guys end up?
Mate, thank you. And what made it sweeter, mate, we raised $103,000.
That is incredible.
For the Mental Awareness Foundation. So, mate, it was...
Far out, well done.
Dude, it blew me away, because we didn't know on the night, so we kind of knew that following week.
Yep.
And we were just stunned. And we also had a collaborative group, or we fought with another charity, which was Small Steps for Hannah, and they raised $63,000. That was the evening, so they did really, really well. But obviously there was a $40,000 difference, and I think this is actually important. And we spoke with the organisers of Fight for the Cause, and we just said why, and they said was community.
So it wasn't split down the middle. It was
No, so we had our day event, which
Gotcha.
we raised funds for us, and
Yep.
then they had the night event, so they
okay,
raised
that's how it
funds for
works.
them.
Yep.
So it was separated.
Yep.
But we all trained together. We all were all, each session was there together, and mate, community was the one that came up. We really, really supported our fighters, and not saying that Small Steps for Honey didn't do great work, but we were just very heavily involved. And it was just amazing, the camaraderie that we created. And mate, we actually had 300 people less.
Yeah, right.
So they had 1,000 or just under 1,000, which is huge. It was a great number.
It's a massive
number,
we
we raised some really good funds, and I think it was coming back to our community. So we're forever grateful.
The power of community, and obviously both charities are doing amazing things. And for those who, if this is the first time you're hearing Wes speak, this is like your fifth time, but we've spoken about the Mental Awareness Foundation and the great work that you guys are doing there as well, and obviously that funding that you guys have received from that night is going to go a long way, doing great stuff for the community, which is the best thing.
Yeah, definitely. And if we've got our walk up in October, everyone, so be prepared for that. But we're all about supporting grassroots mental health charities that are doing great work, and I lost 2 mates to suicide, so it means a lot to be able to raise such great money to then put back. We are fully community-based. Like my brother and I, we're the directors. We take absolutely no payment whatsoever. Everything we do is from a perspective of love, and it's us giving back to our community.
I love that. I can definitely get behind that. So let's go back to where we were.
Yes.
So obviously, where were we?
The bicep,
the bicep. But going through the process of the new challenges now.
Yes.
So before you dive into it, one thing that I want to really highlight for people is anyone listening to this is going to face adversity at some point in their life. And a great one is probably talking about your torn bicep. There's people who have injuries and they just count themselves out of doing anything. That's beneficial for their quality of life. And obviously, there's more to us than just our physical ability. And obviously, if your upper body's banged up, you can walk, you can do things with your lower body, but also you can work on your mind and in various other areas of your life. So the challenges that have arisen for yourself is obviously the rehab with the arm, but where are you shifting your focus to, and what's important to you, or what are you utilizing this time for? Yeah,
so I've made a conscious choice. Obviously, I'm aware there's certain things that I can't do, but I'm very well aware there are certain things that I can do. And I'm taking the focus of doing the things that I can do. So, for example, I can still meditate. That doesn't stop me from meditating, even though I might have to have my arm in a sling or anything like that. I can go for a walk. Now, I know that I personally prefer, extensive exercise, or stuff that really makes your cardio go hard. I can't do that. I can, it's recommended that you don't for a certain period. So what can I do? Well, I can definitely go for a walk. Now that the wound's healed, I can do sauna work, so I can do that.
Yes, back on
the sauna work. Mate, I can still do my gratitude in the morning. I fill out my Man That Can worksheet. Like, I can still do those things. Yes, I can't do my 1 hour of, I guess, extensive exercise. Intensive, that's the word I was looking for. Intensive exercise, but I can still do something, right? So it's just focusing on the things that I can do rather than getting caught up with the things that I can't do. And I'm fortunate that I can change my brain like that, because it's to be able to do that has been something that I've learned over time. And that has come from personal development, where I've taken the time out for myself to get to know myself, to get to know the things that I'm aware of. And then through that awareness, I know, man, this is depressing, brother. Like, it does weigh on me at times, because I walk into the gym, like I saw you and Lachie this morning, and working out, like I crave to want to do that. But I also know that I can't. And it's only for a certain period, and it's just time. And I know time will heal and time will get me back to a place. So it's, rather than getting caught up beating myself, just focus on the things that I can do and try and do them well.
It's such an important perspective to take, because as you mentioned, and I haven't torn my bicep. My old boy did, actually, when I bogged a mile once, and he went to pull it out with me and tore his bicep. He just never got surgery on it, so it's still... But anyway... Lesson learnt. But it's so important to be able to choose how you want to respond. Obviously, it's fucking frustrating. It's upsetting. It's a kick in the dick ultimately towards where you were going, and it can definitely halt momentum. And I think this is where there's an opportunity for you to learn behavioral flexibility in regard to life doesn't always go to plan. Do you need to sidestep, pivot, or what's the learning here for you? For a lot of us, I'm addicted to exercise, and all addiction's not really good, right? So what am I avoiding? So if injuries pop up, what do I need to work on? And that's the way I look at things, and that's for me how I believe I've moved my life forward. And I speak to blokes all day, every day, and you would read a lot of the chats and stuff within the community, and all of us are having moments like this every day, whether it's a relationship breakdown, financial troubles, health issues, and it's like, okay, well, what can you learn from this? Yeah, it's inconvenience, it's upsetting, it's giving you a whole range of emotions, but what are you choosing not to see here that can help you improve your life?
Correct. The other side.
Yeah, the other side, and I think it's so important, and I'm so grateful that you not tore your bicep, but you're here to share that with that perspective, because you could also be sitting here with a very bitter attitude and be fuck boxing and fuck this and fuck that, which is what a lot of how I used to respond to things. But a lot of it is perspective, but also having that emotional intelligence and awareness to be able to ride that wave. Because once again, it's easy to say, I would fucking respond to that when your life's going well. Like for me, it's easy for me to say, oh man, it's easy, just smile and wave, you'll be fine. But I've never done that, so I don't know how I'd respond. I'd hope I would respond the way that you have, but we'll find out when I'm in the thick of it.
And to me, it's just a new challenge, right? So obviously I had the challenge of the boxing bout of wanting to get fit and push through that anxiety and anxiousness of then getting in the ring and doing that. But now this is my new challenge, and that's how I'm trying, and that's how I'm observing it.
And when you conquer this one, where do you hope to be?
Mate, realistically, I think it's going to be 6 months before I'm sort of like back to lifting weights and whatnot. Mate, yeah, good question. I haven't honestly thought, like, I wanted to do a triathlon. Part of my goals for this year, I did the ocean swim, which I ticked off prior to the fight. I do want to get a triathlon in, so that's something to work towards. And obviously, fortunately, we're in the month of May, so I could do that towards the end of the year. I'd like to definitely tick that box off. And then, mate, I'll just see. I probably wouldn't mind getting back to boxing training, just to see how this goes. And then I'll decide from there. But mate, it's just one of those things where now I'm just adjusting and listening to the advice of professionals, because with something like this, you do have to take it seriously, because I do want to get back to a full recovery, and that will be listening to them. So obviously come week 6, I'll start doing some decent rehab, listening to the professionals, soaking that information in, even doing my own research, but then just applying it. So if they're saying, do these certain exercises, make sure that I do those certain exercises so that I can recover quickly. Spot on.
You can never undervalue the help of professionals, and that goes in all senses.
Yeah, definitely. And I just to sort of bring it back, getting involved in personal development and challenging yourself. I didn't start till I was 30, so I'm 41, so it's 11 years ago. It has been the best thing that I've ever done. And, it's now that I'm reaping the benefits, but just scratching that itch of knowing that I can do better, or I can be a better person, and then following that path of getting into personal development work, it is paying dividends now. And mate, I'm seeing it even with my own attitude towards this, and then just the people that I associate myself with.
I couldn't agree more with you on that. And I don't know whether there's stigma around it or for whatever it is. And I don't feel you need to, obviously you will change who you are, but you don't need to necessarily change your interests and your values. Like you may be more aware of it, and there may be something that you want to change, but I feel there's a big stigma around personal development, maybe because it's in the mainstream a lot, or I feel it is, that you have to think, act and behave a certain way. For me, I stopped watching footy and cut out a lot of important things that I thought I needed to get out of my life to be a better version, where it's like, no, I just needed to understand how I was utilizing them and how I was showing up in that space. So I think another extremely, I think to tap onto that is definitely sink your teeth into the work, but also continue showing up how, you feel or find fulfilling. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, when I first started getting involved in personal development work, there was that woo-woo aspect to it, or even like a scammy aspect. But until you dip your toe in and you realize that most people, all they're trying to do is get something better out of you, or make yourself better, or write something down that is for your own betterment.
Yep.
Then you start realizing I actually like doing this work, because one, you're taking the time out to actually go, well, this is what I want to achieve this year.
Yep.
This is how I want to be. And then it's like, okay, cool. If you want to do those things, how are you going to do it? And, it's joining a program like yours, or I'm going to go and join a boxing gym, or I'm going to go join the gym, or I'm going to, start learning about meal plans and whatnot. But until you write it down, or until you actually take that step to go, you know what, I want to be better. You're just floating.
A dream, man.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's an idea and a dream, and they're awesome to have, but you got to back it up with a plan.
Yeah, totally. And it's one saying I've learned: if you don't plan, you plan to fail.
Yep.
And that's why I love your stuff, particularly come in the morning. It sets up my day, my tasks, what I'm grateful for, intention I want to achieve, and mate, it's those constant reminders, which then, mate, just becomes routine and habit, and it's
your
awesome.
Habits who you become.
Yeah, correct.
Mate, thanks so much for coming on and sharing that experience with us. I think it's very cool to see, and obviously for those who are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see Wes's arm. It's still in a.
You can see.
Nice.
Yeah, good little
nice
little
scars. So that's good.
Do. Shark.
Surfing, actually.
Yeah,
mate. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and cheers to, if you did come to the fight, to JP and Brad. Well done to all the fighters at Function Well. Thank you, and to you, mate. Thank you for coming on the day. It actually meant a lot, because it showed you. I know that you're there to support mental health, but to support me, it made it. It's humbling, and I really appreciate it.
It's definitely great to be a part of.